Good morning, everybody. Did you actually enjoy a game of football yesterday? Not completely. Did you enjoy the result? Yep. Did you enjoy watching Liverpool? Yep. Did you enjoy watching Newcastle? Yep. And I'm just going to enjoy that in isolation. All right, I'm going to run through that game against Sheffield United yesterday. Were there problems? Yep. Were there things that we needed to fix? Yep. Did we make that 10 times harder than we needed to? Yep. But I'm going to run through the game, speak about Bruno Fernandes. I'm going to speak about, well, plenty of players. Ethan Wheatley becoming the 250th academy player to make his Manchester United debut. The positives we saw from last night and the question marks that still exist going forward. Honestly, like Sheffield United, one of the worst teams you've ever seen in the Premier League, and we made that difficult. But we did the job. 4 goals, 3 points. I'll run through that. We're going to speak about Liverpool, and also speak about Rasmus Hojlund, Amadou, Andre Onana, Christian Eriksen, Erik ten Hag's reaction. Lots of talking points, all right? And we see who's down here from the member game. Now, can I just say before we kick off the show, unbelievably, Nuruddin gifting 50 memberships before the show's even started. I say it every single day, and I repeat, dude, you are helping me and enabling me to grow this channel to where my ambitions go. So thank you so much. And you're making this community 10 times better as a consequence. Can I just say here, I apologize to everyone on Facebook again. This is pissing me off no end. The Facebook chat's not working again today. It is so difficult to get these things working consistently. I think was it a couple of weeks ago? I was like, oh, look at that. We've had two weeks where there's been no problems, and then boom, 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 Facebook chats. So if you're on Facebook and you want to join in, you have to come over to YouTube. I apologize about that. But look at that. It's not just, oh God, it's not just Nuruddin who's kicking off. Everybody's getting involved. Gungshi, Mania, Alex, and Stu. Let's have a collective 20. Confetti, 3, 2, what can you tell me right? Got it wrong. Get it wrong every time. But big up to all of you. And it is indeed, Oleo, it's a very good morning. Oh, one more time. Go on, just replay that video. Hungry for more. Can Marcus Rashford go and get Trent a meal? He must be starving by now. He must be starving. Ooh, how's that goodbye going there, mate? Quad. They legitimately were talking about a quad, which isn't even a quad because they're in the Europa League. But they were talking about some sort of quad. Can we just all take a moment to appreciate that Ahmad ended their season? It didn't end their season. But the results that they have had since Ahmad scored that goal. Bueno. Let's go up and look at that. We knocked them out the FA Cup. Oh, look, they recovered against Brighton and Sheffield United. No, they drew against us. Knocked out the Europa League by Atalanta. Beaten by Crystal Palace. And yesterday lost the first Merseyside derby under Klopp. I'm enjoying every single second of it. And I'm telling you, well, I'm not telling you actually, it's just my opinion. This is the most enjoyable part of football. No, that's a lie. First most enjoyable part of football is your team winning the pots and winning all trophies and enjoying that. But secondly, it's reveling in your rivals' downfalls. And they have feasted on the corpse of Manchester United for so long that it's just nice to see parity being restored. I don't know how to describe it. I just don't like how Jurgen Klopp is just hailed as, oh, look how brilliant this man is. Oh, he never does any wrong. And he's like the biggest media darling you've ever seen in your entire life. He must have spat in the face, just shouting in the foot. Who cares? Go away, Klopp. I'm enjoying it. Every single second of it. Yum, 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 yum. I'm not apologising for this either. Calvin, how you doing, man? You gifted 10 memberships as well. Everyone's feeling chirpy this morning. Oh, I think I spoke over Fergie. I'm sorry about that, Fergie. Right. I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again. But look, let's get into the main part of the show, all right? Okay? Because last night was a game where I called it, it's one of those classic lose-lose games. Win? Well, you're supposed to beat Sheffield United. They're the worst team in Premier League history. Lose, and we were behind twice. Lose, and you get crucified in the media. And Man United were down by a goal on 2 different occasions last night. We came from behind and we won 4-2. Did we make that harder for ourselves than we needed to? Yeah, damn right we did. And also, Akash, gone for you. God, nice. The show can flow whilst doing these at the same time. We made it difficult for ourselves, but we got the job done, right? First thing to say, I'm going to run through. I'm not going to pretend that everything was perfect last night and ignore the problems that we saw in front of us. I'm going to run through the positives and I'm going to run through the negatives. It's an analysis. You look at both sides of the coin. But Man United yesterday winning, Newcastle losing, Chelsea, of course, got spanked by Arsenal. I mean, probably best finish that we're going to hope for this season is 6th, right? I know that Spurs have had a bit of a wobble. What's their results been in these last few games? We've lost 2 out of the last 5. They've had a bit of a wobble. And they've got Arsenal, City and Liverpool next. So I suppose there's a possibility that we could that. But truth be told, because of English teams collapsing in European football, because of European teams collapsing in European football, 5th spot's not going to get a Champions League spot anymore. So it doesn't really matter. Whether we finish 5th or whether we finish 6th, the season remains the same. The best United can hope for, I would say, is that we win the FA Cup and finish 5th. That's the absolute best that we're going to get from the end of this season. And I think 6 is optimistic, frankly. I love your viewpoint. Always trying to bring me down. It's a leveler. It's a leveler. Look, whether we finish 5th, whether we finish 6th, it's both still a failure of a season compared to what our expectations were going into it. But let's focus on that game last night and let's draw the positives out of it. And I'll be honest, there were some positives. And you'll see him on the wall there. Got his poster up. Of course I did. Because I did a video on this. I did a video on Bruno. It feels like maybe about 2 months ago. Where I think I labelled him the most disrespected player in the Premier League. And certainly the most disrespected player among United fans. And I think it will always be one thing that I would just constantly scratch my head about. The amount of stick that Bruno has got from United fans. I can understand the stick from fans of other clubs, all right? Because if you focus on the negative aspects of Bruno's game, his behaviour and how erratic his behaviour can be on the pitch. Sometimes he is a player who plays with his heart on his sleeve. And when that works for you, it works as an asset. But when it doesn't, it really works against you. But last night, and has been the case in the last few games, by the way. Look at this. I said this in my match reaction. I was completely right. 9 goal involvements in his last 5 games. 2 goals and an assist last night. Mate, I love Bruno. I love Bruno Fernandes. And I'm telling you, we only need one midfield signing this summer. And I'll tell you what, I think I might do this as my lunchtime video today. Because Bruno is a player you build your midfield around. Has he got weaknesses in his game? Yep. Does every player in the world have weaknesses in their game? Yep. There is only one player in this league, this season, by the way, when we are sitting there in what, 6th right now? 24 points off top is where we are sitting. And there is only one player in the league who has more goal involvements than Bruno Fernandes. And he's actually below us in the league. Cole Palmer. That is insane. I mean, how many... Geez, Cole Palmer is nuts. They really are Cole Palmer FC. But this guy. I love Bruno Fernandes. I would not like to think where United would have fallen to had we not signed him. I'm going to read a few of your comments out on Bruno here, because I think my love for Bruno is probably more than most, and I'm going to be interested to see what you're saying in the community. Takeoff saying the narrative that Bruno can't play in a possession-based team is as true as me bagging Rihanna. Yeah, good luck, Rihanna. Anyway, you take that. You take Bruno Fernandes and you drop Bruno in that City team. The numbers he would put up would be absolutely frightening. Vicky, you're saying, I'm not hating on Bruno, but I know even with the Hojlund assist, do you think he stops creativity just because he wants to do everything to save the game? When it comes to those moments, when games are being stretched and games are being chased, Bruno almost like decides to take all the collective responsibility on himself. He goes, no, I'll do the pass over here. I'll do the pass over there. I'll run over here. I'll go make that tackle. And it's like, he wants to do everything, but because he wants to do everything, he can't do anything perfectly. And like sometimes he'll overstretch for a challenge. Sometimes he'll overhit a pass because he's knackered. And you really can do too much in life sometimes. Harry's saying, what if Bruno and Kobe get injured at the same time? Well, I mean, that's going to be horrendous. In the same way, what if Rodri and De Bruyne get injured at the same time? What if Odegaard and Rice get injured at the same time? Every team in the world is going to struggle if you get their two best midfielders and you injure them both at the same time. Having the quality of depth to be able to deal with that we're quite a while away from that. We are quite a while away from that. Chris, you're saying, I do think that Bruno is harshly criticised for what he deserves. Gives 1,000% every game in his pure quality. He's greedy and selfish at times and can be sloppy in the final third. Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm not here. I would not even begin to pretend that Bruno Fernandes is flawless. Far from it. But I would expect rival fans to focus on those flaws far more than I would expect Man United fans to focus on those flaws. That's the thing that's confused. Will always confuse me. A lot of United fans speak about Bruno like they're a Liverpool fan. The way that they talk about him, the way that they focus on these behavioural problems, and just look at the output, man. Our football's a results-driven game. Build a midfield so Bruno doesn't feel like he has any responsibility to run back. Just leave him as the number 10. And Bruno will be one of the best players in the league. I mean, he already is. Has been for a while. And 26 goal involvements this season, despite how horrendous we've been, is incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. Oh, jeez. Speaking of incredible, Shamil and Lou, Shamil, you gifted 20 memberships. Let's get the party started up in here. This one's for Bruno. 3, 2, 1. I've really got to figure out how long that actually takes to... someone said, you know what, again, well, it wasn't really mentioned, but you see that hand yesterday, did you see it in the celebrations for his goal? Well, I think it was for Hojlund's, actually. And he's there, like, holding his hand to one side. Bruno's availability has always been one of his greatest strengths. Fergie.
I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
Lou, that one's for you, man. There's a lot of gongage going on today. Gongage. Is that a verb? Don't know. Just make one up. But you know what was lovely as well yesterday? I'll pull this up here, right? Was this. I'm sure you enjoyed it as well, because I did. Ethan Wheatley. Go on, Ethan, lad. I'm not sure if you did it, but when Wheatley came on, I was just sitting there. I imagine this is how dads watch their kids playing sport. You're just sitting there going, go on, get the ball to him. That's why I've got that photo up on the wall there. That's one of the posters, one of the designs that we're going to do when the merch finally launches. We're much closer, by the way. But Wheatley, going back to what I said there about Bruno and him being the captain. Wheatley deserved that moment after the massive progress that he's made in these last couple of months. I think I said in my match reaction, if you had asked me a couple of months ago which striker from the under-18s who would be coming through with a first-team opportunity, I would have definitely said Gabriel Biancelli. And then Wheatley in these last couple of months has just developed a lot. Physically, he's a specimen. And in the last month, I think alone, he scored a hat-trick against Liverpool's under-18s as we beat them 9-1. He scored a brace on Tuesday as Man United's under-18s won the Premier Cup 2-1. He scored both of the goals. And then he came off the bench there and he had 9 minutes. And I was willing him to get a goal. And you know who else was? Bruno Fernandes. This is what Ethan said after the game. He goes, Bruno pulled me to the side and told me, I've got 9 minutes to try and get you a goal. And Bruno said he's a young kind. At the moment is massive for him. And I think getting a goal in his first appearance would be massive. I couldn't give the assist, but I tried. Especially when it came down to, I think it was like the 96th or 7th minute. And then Bruno was right on the byline. And it looked like a ball was coming across to him. But Ethan, congratulations, man. He's a 250th academy player to play for Manchester United, to make his debut. And there probably wouldn't have been that many people, as I said, who would have guessed that Wheatley would have been the 250th. If you were asked a couple of months ago, who do you think is going to break out of that other under-18s team, he wouldn't have been him. So development isn't linear at that age. Sometimes you can have, was it Paul Scholes? Paul Scholes, every time that he played, I swear Paul Scholes started as, he did, I swear he started as a striker. But he was too small and just kind of slightly went further back. But because he developed physically so late, people were like, oh, he's never going to make it. He's never going to make it. He's never going to make it. And of course he did. But congratulations to Wheatley. Alex, you're saying he deserved his chance. He's been flying for the under-18s. Hopefully he gets more opportunities. I hope so as well. I really, really do. And you're saying down there that it kind of looked how he didn't really have, or wasn't overawed by the occasion. I think the occasion was, and this is what's frustrated so many of us, like Coventry, for example. All right. We're 3-0 up in the FA Cup semi-final with 20 minutes to go. If we just do what we should be doing in that game, and it gets to like the 80th minute mark, and we're 3-0 up, Erik ten Hag would probably have had the confidence, maybe not the 85th, call it the 80th, call it the 85th minute, give them like 7 or 8 or 9 minutes, just like Ethan Wheatley got yesterday. Then you could have seen probably Harry Mass come on and made his debut for United at Wembley in an FA Cup semi-final. You maybe could have seen Wheatley come on for Hojlund at Wembley in an FA Cup semi-final. Because that's what you can do when you have confidence in your team and seeing out a game. Brian, you're saying game management is poor. It is poor. And it's frustrating. It really is frustrating. Always has been frustrating for a long, old time. But Ethan Wheatley, congratulations to him making his debut. And last night, a congratulations to Rasmus Hojlund. How many goals did he go there without scoring? Obviously, he scored, I think it was it 7 and 6, and then he got injured. He was missing for a couple of games, and I don't think he scored since. So it must be like 4, 5 games. Was it 6? 6 games without scoring. Okay, well, it's a couple more than I thought it was. But again, you can see who the central figures of all these conversations are. Bruno Fernandes with a lovely assist. And yesterday must have been one of the first times this season where I've looked and I've gone, oh my God, Bruno Fernandes has just played a through ball to Rasmus Hojlund. I'm not sure if you thought the same thing. It's just that we just haven't been... I think of all the players in United's team, I think Bruno has passed to Hojlund more than anybody else. But I just don't think United ever really, and still kind of have been looking for Rasmus Hojlund. and trying to find those runs. Because if you feed him, he's going to score. Right? That's just, again, that's a personal take. You might not agree with that. But it was it was a relief goal for him. He went over there, celebrated with Bruno. Yeah, JC, he probably did thank him. He did thank Bruno. And Hojlund, I think now is on, is it 14 or 15 goals in all competitions this season? That's not a bad debut season in itself, especially when you consider it took him how many games to score a Premier League goal? Was it December? 12, 13? I think it was more than that, actually. Phew. Let me see what you're saying about Hojlund in the comments. Next season, says Brian, Hojlund will score a lot of goals. At the moment, he's not getting service. And I'll be honest, I don't think at any point really this season you would say he's had the service that he needs. Hojlund has always been a bit starved of service at Manchester United, and I think that's a problem. The team has to be built towards the tip of the arrow, if you want to call it that. You have to build towards something. You have to keep those repeated patterns and keep trying to find that player in the box. And if you do that, Hojlund's he's a poacher striker. He's somebody who's most comfortable anywhere on the pitch in the penalty box. That's where you want to find him. Get those whipped crosses in. Early crosses. He'll love that. What are we saying down here? Joe's saying there's a lack of communication. Where's that comment gone? Between players up front yesterday. Hojlund kept losing the ball when up front. He missed so many chances. Did he? I know he missed one where he went through on his left foot. I have to say his hold-up play looks a little bit weaker than I remember specifically earlier this season. I was praising his hold-up play. At the start of the season, Hojlund was going way too tight to defenders. He was like proper backing into them, wasn't he? Like moving his shoulders wide. And, well, he was just getting the ball nicked off him. Then he sort of stepped off a couple of yards and creating that tiny little bit of space, whilst also being tight to the defender, allowed him to then stand off and hold the defender off. And then that worked perfectly. But then if you look at his hold-up play now, he's definitely, I don't know, something's not quite right. I don't know whether it's fitness related. Don't know whether it's confidence related. But big up to Hojlund for getting a goal. And I tell you what, I sent him my match reaction, and I'll continue to say it. Harry Maguire, if I'm looking at Manchester United centre-backs this summer and who's staying and who's leaving, I'm not getting rid of, but Varane is leaving first. Lindelof is leaving second. Both of them are leaving, in my opinion, ahead of Harry Maguire. The resilience that he's shown this season has been superb, really. Absolutely superb. I remember specifically my criticism that I gave him last. I blasted Harry Maguire more than any individual. I really, really did. And I said that it feels like Harry Maguire's got like the wrong people around him. There's sort of like the echo chamber where you just like block out all criticism, and therefore you can't really properly understand the flaws in your game and maybe the things that you can improve on. And I thought that was quite dangerous. But the way that Maguire has come through this season, mate, without that armband, giving Harry Maguire the captaincy of Manchester United was such a flaw. It was such a... I don't think there were many United fans that thought it was the right idea at the time. Who would have been our captain if it wasn't for him? When was that? Was it 2019 we signed him? I think it was 2019. I mean, I don't know who we had then. Pogba? Well, you weren't going to make Paul Pogba captain. Anyway, he definitely shouldn't have been given the captaincy. David De Gea, yeah, that could have easily been David De Gea, I suppose. Anyway, it wasn't to be with him as captain. But without that armband this season, Maguire has been like, there's 2 goals in 2 games from him, but it's not really about the goals of Maguire. He looks very good. He looks confident. And if I'm, and I'm getting rid of plenty of centre-backs this summer, I would much rather see Varane and Lindelof leave before I see Maguire leave. And people are like, flip-flop, change opinion. No, it's not flip-flop anything. That's watching the progression of a player across the course of the season and an opinion changing. If you have, there might be certain people that have like an agenda against Maguire. They can't possibly look past anything positive that he does, and therefore he's got to go. Out you pop. I still personally think if the right offer came in, that I would take it, but that would require Manchester United in one summer to replace Varane, Lindelof, and Maguire. And I don't know whether we'd have the money to do that. Simmy Skimmed, you're saying it is flip-flop. Well, my friend, you can't understand what critical thinking is, and that's not my problem. All right? Players develop, players go the other way. All right? Some players get better, some players get worse. And in the priority scale of replacing centre-backs, I think Varane, there's no way we keep Varane over 250 grand a week. It's not a chance. And I don't think there's any chance that he signs a pay cut. So, therefore, Varane's leaving anyway. So, Varane is first out the door. Priority number one. And number two, if I'm going to keep one of Lindelof or Maguire, I'd be amazed if there are that many people, if there are many people that would say that they would rather keep Lindelof. In fact, I'll put it in the comments. Type Lindelof or Maguire. If you were going to keep one of those two centre backs, who would you keep for next season? I think it's a fair comment. But Varane there's no chance Varane stays. None whatsoever, in my opinion. I'd be amazed if he stays. And yeah, I think out of the two, I think I'm definitely keeping Maguire. So let's have a look down there. I didn't do this one as a poll. I thought you'd get you to fire your comments in. It's more fun sometimes. Overwhelming majority. That's like 90% plus saying Maguire. Not every single one of you, but at least 90%, if not probably a little bit more. But I'll tell you what, we have got some overhaul with our centre backs coming. And as much as it would even pain me to say this, I can't have absolute confidence anymore that Martinez is going to come back and be that Martinez that I love. Right? I hope he will. I absolutely hope he will. But there is a chance that Martinez comes back from all of these injury problems a slightly different player. More so the knee injury issue. I think the metatarsal was metatarsal. That's a broken bone. Yeah, that doesn't really change a player. But a knee ligament injury, and that flaring up again, there is a chance that, and especially the way that Martinez plays, the aggression is something that makes up for his lack of size. So if there are question marks about Martinez, Varane's got to go. I think Lindelof should be leaving. Johnny Evans is 400 years old. Willy Cambuala has broken through this season, but he'll clearly need more time to develop. Man, we need centre-backs this summer. We need two centre-backs this summer, without a shadow of a doubt. And yeah, in my list of centre-backs I'm getting rid of, there's at least two, if not more, ahead of Harry Maguire. I'd probably say two, actually. But we'll see. Look, I'm not saying that Martinez can't return as that player. All right, that's not what I'm suggesting. But I'm saying it is a possibility that, well, yeah, it's a real possibility. Right. There's something I want to try now. Actually, no, it's all right. I'll save it for another show. We'll save it for another show. But let's speak about this, because in the build-up to that game yesterday, dude, I'm not going to reply to... damn it. Why do I keep nibbling on people? Anyway, certain people just like an argument. Anyway, Jason Wilcox. Was at the game yesterday. Jason Wilcox has been at the club since Friday last week, so nearly a week into what he is doing. And there was a story that came out earlier yesterday that I was poo-pooing massively. It's like the idea that Jason Wilcox has taken Erik ten Hag to a side and said, "You've got to change your style of play, or you're going to get a boot." And words to that effect, which there would be absolutely no chance that Erik ten Hag says that. No, so Erik ten Hag is told that after him being at the club for like 3-4 days. is there a chance that Jason Wilcox pulled Eric Ten Hag to the side and said, look, me and Ratcliffe and all that, we've spoken, and we would love to move to, not we would love, we're going to move towards a more possession-focused team. And maybe that was a hint towards how we were going to play yesterday. I personally feel that it was mainly because we played Sheffield United. I would say the word, well, not, I mean, statistically, legitimately, they are the worst team in the league. They were always going to sit off us, and therefore we were always going to have a high amount of possession. But it was good to see United doing repeated patterns yesterday, right? In that first half, Garnacho should have had, definitely should have had a goal. Probably should have had two. And we had chances. And in my opinion, do you know what I think Garnacho is looking like right now? I think Garnacho is looking like a 19-year-old who started like 31, 32 out of 35 games like in a row. That's what it kind of looks like to me with Garnacho. As exciting as he still is to watch, I think he's been overplayed this season. And I think that's come as a direct consequence of Rashford's form being in the bin. Anthony, just basically being Anthony. Like, Anthony's not going to randomly change all of a sudden and turn into like a Brazilian superstar. This is Anthony's level. When it works, he works, and he's capable of contributing. He's capable of scoring. But I don't think Anthony's really going to change. So Anthony, my mind's made up, and Anthony's a player that should be, again, there's bigger priorities this season than selling Anthony and replacing him, because I don't think that's going to be possible. But when you look at Ahmad coming on it, I think the reason that Ten Hag isn't starting Ahmad is because of the two players, Anthony is more suited to a direct transitional style of football. Ahmad is somebody who's far more technical. Slows the game down, but not in a horrible way. Takes the ball to his feet. Doesn't always just fire it off first time like a hot potato. He's capable of taking a couple of deft touches, looking up, neat passes. I think that game yesterday actually suited Ahmad more from the start than Anthony, because they sat in the low block, and it was the low block where you needed the quality to shine through. Now, Garnacho had his chances and we should have scored. But we focus on some positives from that game yesterday. There were negatives as well. All right. Two major problems. 2 goals. Right. And the first was caused by Onana. I rewatched it a couple of times. When I first watched it, I thought that it was just from this pass here. When I watched it live, I thought that Dalot had just got caught. Dalot and Onana were just kind of caught between two minds, that Dalot was thinking about going forward and Onana wanted him to come back. And then I watched it back again and I was like, well, no, Onana just made a mistake. Because Dalot is in acres of space there. His body shape is good. But Onana has passed the ball slightly too far forward. So then if you look at Dalot's body position there, where he's now pushing off his right leg to try and get towards the ball. But the Sheffield United player has got the run on him. Sandman, you're saying Dalot is not concentrating. I don't think it's that at all, dude. I think in this position here, Dalot is looking straight at. Let me try and get my little. Get that there. Dalot is over there. He's looking straight at Onana. What Onana should have done here in this situation, right? It should have just been a nice little simple pass. Maybe not as close to the line there as that, but it should have been a nice simple pass into him. Unfortunately, the shape of the ball ends up going more there. So I think it was a problem from Onana. But I'll be completely honest. These are more the mistakes that I expected to see from Onana. I think I'm going to call that an occupational hazard of having a goalkeeper whose main priority and focus is to play out from the back with the ball. That there is what I expected Onana to make more of those mistakes this season. The mistakes that you can't really forgive from Onana are like the handling errors, just the weak wrists, the poor shot stopping, the poor positioning in goal. It's something that you wouldn't have expected. I would have expected this to probably happen a little bit more early this season. A bad mistake. United causing their own problems. Up until that point, Sheffield United had absolutely nothing, right? Nothing in that game. And then United caused their problems again here. And this is not the first time this has happened this season. This is not the last time this has happened this season, right? When you look at this, if I go to here, right? 3 screenshots. 1, 2, 3. You'll notice, I notice a couple of things. So this is the position, right, of each player. You've got your back four. You've got Dalot over there. You've got Maguire. You've got Casemiro. And you've got Wan-Bissaka. You've got Eriksen, who's the holding midfielder in this formation. You've got Mainu and Bruno as the 2 central midfielders slightly further ahead. And then you've got Garnacho and Anthony. And presumably Hojlund is just off screen, just here as the striker, right? Not one of them. Maybe Bruno. If you really, really want to try and be critical, you could say that Bruno's got to track the man there in the box. But I think it's Christian Eriksen's job. That's Christian Eriksen's position. Right? And the ball comes back there. And look how much space this dude... Is it Brereton Diaz? I think it is. Look how much space he's got there. I can draw a circle that big around him without touching a player. It's just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous how often this season this happens at Manchester United. Because it's so avoidable. Right? And this, for me, is why... Well, not replacing Eriksen, right? But having... This is what it... when it comes to using the right players in the right positions and natural players in their natural positions. Because at times like this, right, Eriksen's looking at the ball. Everybody's looking at the ball. Because he's an attack-minded midfielder, not a defence-minded midfielder. Now, a natural defensive-minded midfielder would, instead of looking at the ball there, probably look at the space. Probably look at where the opposition are. And probably put yourself there rather than focusing on where the ball is. And then that's why... So from this position here... Right? Let's go back full screen. From this position here, Eriksen should be tucking in. Instead, he goes forward to the ball. And that little movement there is what creates a space. And that's a problem. It's been a problem all season. Cutbacks have just been so easy to score against United. And that will not be resolved, and it's like I said at the start of the video, until we have that midfielder who perfectly blends with Mainu and Bruno. If Eriksen was a midfielder there who had the natural instincts to cover the space, we wouldn't have conceded that goal. If McTominay was there, McTominay would have done the same thing. If Casemiro was there, maybe Casemiro would have covered that space, but he doesn't have the yard, he doesn't have the legs, he doesn't have the acceleration to do it. Simi skimmed, you say, oh, Bruno could actually cover the centre-back. No, yeah, he could, but that is not his job. That should be covered by Christian Eriksen in the formation. We're talking about, oh, Bruno does too much. That would be the definition of Bruno looking too much. Yeah, and I thought, I don't know where I said it. Every single player as well is looking at the ball. Nobody is looking at here, apart from Garnacho. Man, you are being really critical here if you're going to try and say that's on Bruno. But until we sign that proper... We need a midfielder whose main priority and focus is everything out of possession. When United do not have the ball, he is the one that covers all the space. He is the one that covers all the cutbacks. He is the one that if Man United get hit on the transition, he covers all that ground. And that's why someone like Onana really does fit the bill. We've got enough quality. And I'm going to do a video on this at lunchtime today. But Eriksen's finished. Sandman, you've just put it there. Eriksen's been finished since Andy Carroll sat on his leg. it was such a severe injury at that point in his career, and I don't think he's ever really been the same player since. There's a couple of super chats. Let me read these out. Jibak saying, given we are so much in flux, do you expect our summer transfers to be hampered again by delayed planning and inconsistent or competing priorities? It's going to be so difficult for United to get this summer right, Jibak. Simply because of how much we need to do, and we don't have the structure in place that we want to have to do it. So we're going to have Jason Wilcox and probably Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada by July the 1st. But what happens between May the 20th, May the 25th, after the FA Cup final, May 26th, whatever. What happens from between May 26th and July the 1st? That's a month. You've got 2 weeks after the end of the season before Euro 2024 starts. Are you going to be able to negotiate any deals there before? If not, you're going to have to then wait until July the 12th. And if you wait until July the 12th, then you've only got 3 and a bit weeks until the season starts. So not only do we have a massive to-do list, not only do we not have our sporting director in, and not only can our CEO not start until July the 1st, you got Euro 2024 that takes up an entire month of it. It's going to be really difficult to get it right this summer, and United need to. So yeah, good luck to everyone involved in that. Ross, you're saying, Sam the man answering my question before I even asked it. Well, I don't know what your question was, but I'm going to take that as a compliment. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Bully's saying, I hate to say it because I love him, but I think that Casemiro is finished. And I was going to pull this up here, actually. I think Casemiro looked all right yesterday. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think against Sheffield United, he should be looking all right. But let's not even try and let anybody pretend that the idea of Casemiro being a centre-back and, maybe Casemiro can stay for another year. No. Casemiro can't be playing centre-back on any more than a short-term basis. And we also can do a lot better than Casemiro in that midfield. That's the one that's going to sting quite a few United fans, but in the best interest of our club, Man United selling Casemiro, if we get a good offer, is the best case scenario this summer. And we move on and we shake hands and say thank you for that first season. It was brilliant. Shame about the second season, but it is what it is. Casemiro looks... There's too much physical requirement on that position for Casemiro to get another season at our club. That's what I think. And I think before Casemiro leaves, we need a midfielder. Maybe you could see Finley McAllister coming through from the youth team. Probably not. I'm going to go down here and read a few of your comments about the Euros and then about Casemiro as well. Stephen is saying, I don't want Bruno anywhere near our box. Hey, dude. Preaching to the choir there. It's the last place I want Bruno Fernandes. I want Bruno Fernandes to have the confidence to sort of stay 10 yards away from his own box. Imagine that. Imagine on our counter-attacks, if instead of Bruno being the person to receive the ball on the edge of his own box, Bruno's the person that you find like 10 yards away from the halfway line, teams would not be able to stop him. He would always find the pass for the runner in behind. Always. Which player would you prefer in that position, says Carl, and would you spend big on Onana, says 2 Carls, double Carlage. I'll be honest, the reason that I've got Onana in my head is familiarity. I've seen more of Onana than I have of Vifa this season or of Hojlund at Sporting, but they all strike me as the similar sort of profile that I think if Man United had a ton of money, maybe you go after João Neves from Benfica, but from a physical perspective, is he that monster duel winner? Because that's what we need. Somebody who wins like 80% of their ground duels. Whenever they come through, you just can't get past him. Absolutely dominant, because we've got enough quality in Mainu and Bruno to create going forward. We need somebody whose main purpose is to be the bouncer for the defence. I think so anyway. What's going on down here? Aiden is saying that if he does that, the anti-Bruno brigade would criticise him for not tracking back now. Build your midfield around those two. It's got to be done. Thomas is saying the only problem is finding clubs for the players we want out before the Euros. I don't know. It's going to be hard. I mean, international competitions always speed up how quickly you got to get things done. I think if I was to hazard a guess, I would imagine the first 2 weeks for Manchester United will be about shipping players out, sorting something with Sancho. Martial's obviously leaving on a free transfer. Varane will be leaving on a free transfer. Sell Mason Greenwood, get good money for him. Who else? I personally think PSG are going to come in for Rashford. I don't know whether we'll sell him. I think it will massively depend on the price. But Mbappe is going to be going around Madrid. So I think PSG are going to look towards Rashford as a potential replacement for Mbappe, given all the links in the past. And I think, I think if the right offer comes in, I think United will entertain it. I don't think we'll be actively pushing Rashford out the door. But I think if the right offer comes in, I think we'll consider it. Yeah, and we will struggle to sell Van der Beek. I forgot that bloke even exists. Facundo Pellistri is another one. Hannibal is another one. So there's a lot to do this summer. There is a lot to do this summer. See, I'm going to call this out now. CD Cal, whatever it is, stop spamming the same comment about Archie Gray. You've said that comment about 7 times. I'm not going to answer it if you spam. Anybody who spams comments, you're going to be dusted. Good news. I think Mason Mount is going to be back from injury against Burnley. I mean, odds are he's just going to get injured again. That most recent injury, I really didn't understand. Like when he returned from injury, you know, that 4-month layoff that he had, and he returned and he didn't even, I'm not even sure I don't think he started a game. Did he start? He might have started one. Don't know. He certainly didn't complete 90 minutes. He was being really slowly reintroduced. Really slowly. It felt like his game management was, from Erik ten Hag, was correct. Bring him back and reintroduce him slowly, and then randomly gets injured in training. I don't know. Like people are gonna be like, "Oh, the training's too intense, too intense." It's like, geez. I mean, how intense can the training be? You're playing once a week. It can't be that unless we're doing bleep tests every single day. I just don't understand how the training can be that excessive in intensity. No idea. As I said, I enjoyed that win for what it was yesterday. Scoring 4 goals, yeah, I'll take that. Double from Bruno, yeah, I'll take that. Ethan Wheatley making his debut, yeah, I'll take that. Goal for Hojlund, yeah, I'll take that as well. Lovely. Good. Enjoyable. The overall game, I've just ran through, and I just explained the errors from Onana and the errors from Manchester United's midfield. And cutbacks. And the need for that midfielder. And that problem will not change this season because we simply do not have the midfielder whose natural instincts in football, they're the subconscious thoughts, subconscious actions. You don't have to think about doing something. Your body's already doing it. Muscle memory, if you want to call it that. Attack-minded players have different muscle memories to defensive-minded players. And we do not have that midfielder who's physically capable of playing that position, covering that space with a natural defensive mindset. And until we have that midfielder, we will always keep conceding those cutback goals. If I was Man City for the FA Cup final, I would just basically gear my whole team towards doing that. Get to the instincts, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. Get to the byline, just cut it back towards the penalty spot. There's probably going to be a City player who runs into space there. Rob saying, could it be anything to do with the training pitches at Carrington? I swear they've got some sort of drainage issue at Carrington. I think like the ground's quite soft. Maybe. But you would imagine that Manchester United have surely invested in the, like, not a 3G surface, but like Actually, I suppose it would be expensive to have a surface as good as Old Trafford for your training ground. Don't know. But look, thank you for tuning in. Look at that. Ant, you're saying, do you feel the sale of Fred exposed us or Casemiro? No, I don't think so. I think what exposed Casemiro was the change in approach this season from Erik ten Hag, making Man United the best transitional team in the world. That's what exposed the number 6. Last season, we largely played in a 4-2-3-1. Not completely a double pivot, but we largely played with the central midfielder having a partner and one sort of number 10. This season, we switched to 2 number 8s. 2 more aggressive, attack-minded players, and then 1 defensive midfielder to cover it all. That was a large reason why Casemiro was exposed early this season, and then he got injured, and he's never really been the same player since. In the same way that I'm looking at Eriksen after that Andy Carroll injury, I'm looking at Casemiro after. How did he even get injured? Was it a calf injury with Casemiro? I can't remember what happened. I don't think it was a massive, I think he just came back from international duty with Brazil and he got injured. I think that's what it was with Casemiro. Either way, he just doesn't look like he's got it in him anymore. As sad as that is. Chubak saying, where's Fred playing at? Pretty sure he's playing for Fenerbahce and scored an absolute banger. Banger somewhere else. Last couple of minutes, I'll have a chance to some of the questions in the comments. What's going on here? Down here. Adam Wharton, Crystal Palace. Dougie Freedman has got an excellent talent ID when it comes to signings from the Championship. And I'll be honest, we need to do that. People look down on the Championship. Oh, can't possibly sign anybody good from the Championship. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, great. You do you. Oh, United, we can only sign players from City, Liverpool, or Real Madrid, blah, 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 blah. Get in the bin. It's such a closed-minded mentality, and that will just drive United further downwards. There is so much talent in the Championship. Are they going to be ready to play for United straight away? Maybe, maybe not. Well, you can loan them out to Nice then. Use that. I don't want us to have the multi-club model, but we've got the multi-club model now. So use it. Same way we're getting linked with Aaron Anselmino from Boca Juniors. Might not be quite ready for United yet, but if we were to sign Todibo and then Anselmino went there for 2 years and then came to us after 2 years in Europe, accustomed, developed, poof, bang. Yeah, perfect. There you go, Dennis. Gyökeres. Victor Gyökeres playing for Coventry last season. Oh, he's only a Championship level striker. Blah, 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 blah. Banged him in for Sporting Lisbon, and now he's worth 75 mil, and Arsenal want him and Chelsea want him. There are players there. There really are players in that Championship. Adam Moore was a great example. A couple more questions down here. Andy saying, how can our facilities be the issue when they had not changed since the 90s and we were successful then? I'm not saying the facilities are the issue. I'm not saying the training ground pitches are the issue. I don't particularly think they are, if I'm being completely honest. But we all know that we need a new training ground. Right, okay, 1 second here. I've had enough of this. Simmy skimmed. You've just been banned by me. I normally let things go down here, but if you want to try and get into oh yeah, mate, you are not welcome in this community. Hop along. Go somewhere else. I'm sure there'll be other channels where you can have this sort of conversation, but it ain't going to be here. All right? We can disagree on opinions, but if you really want to double down and you really want to hammer it home, then I'm going to hammer it back. Jay, thank you very much. Asking how the ankle is. Man, my ankle is so fat. My ankle is so ridiculously fat. I've got proper cankle. My ankle is so swollen, it's unreal. It won't go down. Because your foot is obviously at the lowest point of your body. Blood keeps rushing to it. It's the swelling takes ages to go down. But this one in particular is just taking a lot longer than last time. But anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you all for your comments. Thank 99.9% of you for your comments and your interactions. Big up to Nuruddin and to anybody else who gifted memberships. Let me see who it was. There's plenty of you down here. We've got Alex, Stu, Mania, Gungshi, Calvin, Akash, Shamil, Lou, all of you. Thank you very much just for helping the channel grow. Yeah, Ryan, appreciate that. Stand upside down. Yeah, I sleep like Dracula, people. All right, I sleep like Dracula. But big up to everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll be here tomorrow morning, as always. And yeah, I think my lunchtime video today might be on midfield. I think so. I'll decide later. Ciao.